and working with some of the core ideas that are deeper than the message, that are not about the message, but about perhaps what the message provides a doorway into. I did grow up as a radical. My grandmother was a labor organizer and a resistance fighter in World War II. My parents founded the American Civil Liberties Union in Florida. We had crosses burning on our lawn as a child. And I grew up with images of how could we change the world on a large scale. Spartacus was one of my heroes. But I didn't name this session Conversation as a Radical Act for that reason. And in a moment we'll talk about the process and the team that we're going to use. I didn't name this session Conversation as a Radical Act because of my personal political history. But it's actually because of a personal journey that I have been on during the last 12 years since the World Cafe was born, that has taken me, I wouldn't say in another direction, it's taken me to a deeper level of thinking and exploration about what really is the meaning of radical. The idea of radical meaning going to the root, to our fundamental understanding about a phenomenon, whatever that means, whatever that phenomenon is. And I actually want to invite you and us as a community to join what for me and others of our colleagues is an ongoing inquiry. It's a pioneering inquiry, just like the inquiry that began the World Cafe when it showed up in our living room by accident after a conversation between three friends who then decided to host a gathering of their friends in the arena of intellectual capital when there wasn't even a name for that field. And when the World Cafe pattern showed up in our living room, and it happened by accident, the details of the story have been shared in many other places. There was a colleague of ours from Denmark who was part of that gathering. And he and I, when we were walking down the stairs in from the living room down to our kitchen, after the first cafe with 6 tables of 4 people each, little TV tables in our living room, Finn Voltosta and I walked down the stairs and we said, my God, what happened there? What happened? And after that gathering was over, the following day we sat down to tape ourselves, trying to understand what was it. And we'll talk more about that in just a minute. I want to introduce the colleagues, the girls team of Nancy Margulies, who has been a pioneer in this work since the very beginning, and many of the images that you see have come from Nancy's work over the years. Nancy White, who is what we call in the World Cafe our Mama Gigi, girl geek. And Nancy is very involved with social networks, online community. And Amy Lenzo, who is here, where are you, Amy? Oh, there she is, who is the technology maven of the World Cafe. They are going to be helping to capture and harvest. And Nancy will be hosting a special activity that we're going to have together a bit later. All of these girls, and women, forgive me for saying girls, but I think of them as girlfriends, is David Isaacs, who was in the living room when the cafe was born. And there are many other colleagues here from around the world who are, and many of you who yourselves are doing this conversational work. So we think of ourselves all together as being operating in new territory. When Finn and I and David sat down to tape ourselves, thinking, what happened there? Was it the question that was at play? Was